Hey everybody, hello, welcome back in. It's been a minute. It's been a minute since I've uploaded to YouTube, but I'm back and I am excited to start this new learning series. If you are a beginner here, if you're a newbie to my channel, my name is Kayla. I'm a lot of things. I'm a teacher, I'm a mom, I'm a exoteric educator, and this channel is going to comprise of a lot of exoteric things. I share writings, I share, spiritual tools. And so if you are interested in all of the such, make sure that you like and subscribe so that when I post, you never miss it. And yeah, so I was looking through my journals. I was looking through one of my journals, and I'm just was planning out kind of the rest of the year as far as what I wanted to teach and what I wanted to bring out as far as offerings as well. I was looking through, I came across this email campaign. It was a long outline, but I used it for email campaign at the time. And it was all about learning your energetic being through the planets. And so I wanted to cross that over into a video series that we are going to start right now today. Now, the idea about it, and let me make sure I got my notes ready, which I do. The idea of behind it, when we explore the energetics of the planets, and also we are also exploring our own energetic being, because the energies of the planets, and I'm talking about the base energies, the energetic tails that these planets represent. And those are threaded and woven into all facets of our life, right? And for all of us, astrologically, we have the energies of the planet somewhere within our life, somewhere within our chart. No one is missing any of these energies. They are all a part of us, and they all affect us in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Now, depending on what your particular chart is, what your birthday is, the energy is going to affect you in a different way, which breathes the uniqueness that we have today. But everyone has like the same base code when it comes to energy, right? And so I feel like, studying the energy of the planets is a great way to also study the energy within you. So, with that being said, I want to start off now. When I was thinking about doing this series and how I wanted to mix the planets together, what order I wanted to go in, I was thinking about the order of the Chaldean order, which is the astrological order of planets, from slowest to fastest, basically. And it was created long time ago in Babylonia. Like the first scholars created this order. And one thing that is interesting about the Chaldean order is that it is only includes the visible planets. So Uranus and Neptune and Pluto are not within the Chaldean order, but you do have all of the other ones. And again, it is from slowest to fastest. So with that being said, the first planet in the Chaldean order, and I wanted to pull up the chart for myself here. But the first planet in the Chaldean order is Saturn. So today for this video, for this first video in the Planet Energetics series, Learning Your Energetic Being, we are going to talk about Saturn. Interestingly enough, we are currently in a Saturn retrograde. Saturn is retrograding in Gemini. And so I find that interesting that I'm starting with Saturn and we're in this, no, Saturn is not retrograding with Gemini. Let's find out what, I'm thinking about Jupiter. Let's find out where Saturn is right now. Let's find out where Saturn is right now. Aquarius. Saturn is in Aquarius right now. It's Gemini that is in, it's Jupiter that is in Gemini. But anyway, so we're going to start with Saturn. Now, Saturn is one of those planets that no one really likes. Wherever it is in your chart, people feel like you don't really want to go, you don't really jump to go to the house that Saturn is in first. Interestingly enough, Saturn is also like the authoritarian figure, if you will, one of them within that astrological order. I would say like Saturn and Jupiter, like the old people, the old people of the planetary lineup. So when you get to Saturn, now within the Chaldean order, they also call it the pathway of the soul. And if you're in my email list, I did a whole email series on that as well. And I might do a video series on that later. But within the pathway of the soul, it is said that you get to Saturn first, basically. So there you come in choosing who your soul is choosing to be within the pathway of the soul. And when you get to Saturn first, you're going to be choosing who you are in reference to all the energetics and everything that Saturn represents. So that discipline, that timekeeper essence, that working hard, I consider that with Saturn too. All of that has to do with, all of that is what you would choose when you get to Saturn, as far as the pathway of the soul goes. Now, the solar Saturn, when I think about the, hold on, let me get a drink of water. When you think about Saturn, when you're talking about the soul of what it is, Saturn always seems to remind us that it gets better with time. I feel like wherever Saturn is placed within your chart, that part of your life gets better as time and space moves. Whatever way you believe it moves, but it gets better as we move along within this experience. It is about the building of wealth, whereas one might see Jupiter as being like money or getting money. I almost see Jupiter as like quick money, and I see Saturn as like long money, longevity, wealth. How can you not just Saturn is not just about having it now. Saturn is about being around for quite a time, and what does it take to be around for that time. I feel like it teaches us and drives within us patience and care. And Saturnian energy invites us to plan and focus and have gratitude for the blossoming that happens over a period of being disciplined in doing what you set out to do. And I'm reading over my notes as we're going along. Now, the legend of Saturn. Let's get into the legend of Saturn right quick, because with each of these planets, interestingly enough, you can match a planet with a god archetype. And a great way to learn, like if you have a problem with like ingesting, just studying the planet itself, if you are if you love mythology, you love history, even if you love a conspiracy theory, I would say look at the god that the planet represents. And it ties it all into itself. Now, the Roman version of Saturn, of course, is Saturn, shares the exact same name state. And this is the god of time. Saturn was the god of time, the god of controlling time, creating time. Time was in Saturn's hand, essentially. And he was also the god of agriculture and wealth, which takes me back to what I just said about wealth, because wealth is one of those things that you build over time. When you're growing crops, it is over time that you get to harvest. You know, you don't just plant a seed and it sprouts and it grows. It takes time. So it makes perfect sense for Saturn to be the god of time, agriculture, and wealth. And again, it's always in perspective of how you look at things, because in some ways Saturn can be off-putting because it's simply not going to be a point of quick gratification. Saturn is always going to make you wait. And yeah, Saturn is always going to make you wait. And I'm just thinking about my own Saturn placement. But wherever you do have Saturn in your chart, you may feel like you've been waiting forever. You may feel like it's been taking all day. But Saturn is there to kind of remind you that it can always get better. Like it can always get better than it is right now. Don't be satisfied with the now. Baby, wait on the future like you know it is worthy. It is going to be like a worthy arrival when you get there. Saturn preaches gratitude for patience and sin still. Okay, what else do I want to talk about? The transits. The visualizations of the god Saturn. You do see him as this older bald male, very stern and studied looking, very wise. Wisdom is something that is the energetic archetype of Saturn, and during the transits or wherever you have Saturn at in your natal chart is going to be one of the places in your life where you are the most wise, because that wisdom is going to be something that is developed. With Saturn there, Saturn is going to develop it. So you'll be like an elder who's able to teach everybody about wherever your Saturn is, because you're going to have, so much wisdom in that area. The god Saturn was also known as now on his Greek side, where you're looking at Kronos, and of course Kronos was the god who devoured his children. um, devour. You can actually see statues of him like devouring, and in some statues of Saturn you see the same thing. So essentially it's a crossover of the same god, just in a different pantheon. But he's basically devouring these kids. Yeah, he was the one who devours the infant child within his arms. Sometimes, and I take that both literal, right, and unliteral, by the way, but I will, in this sense of this lesson, we will just say that over time, how do I say this? Time eats away. Time eats away at things. The concept of time eats away at things. And I'll just say that there. Now, talking about Saturn and how it shows up within your life would take a personal look at where you have it in your birth chart. What house does Saturn fall into? And just reviewing like what I said before, that house is going to bring a sense of waiting, maybe a sense of longing, just because Saturn takes its time. Saturn moves in the way that Saturn wants to move, and it's also a generational energy too. So Saturn speaks a lot about what the community is what wealth the community is building, what this community is going to be able to change over a scope of a time period, what elders are going to come out of this community, which is important when you're thinking about like the house that Saturn is in for a generation. So that particular generation of elders are going to be coming out of that Saturn placement. Like if you are part of the Saturn in 10th house generation, then you all may be the wisest elders when it comes to building true wealth and not only work, but building true wealth around the world with the support of the world. You're going to be able to be very wise and studied in that era through probably a lot of trial and error, and being able to overcome those areas in your life in which time has seemed to eat away at your own career aspirations. And that's just an example. I hope y'all understand. That's just an example. Now, if you have, that's an example for what I feel like is the generational effect. Because again, Saturn is a generational planet because it moves slowly. So you will find people around your same age, you will have the same Saturn. You will have you will have Saturn in the same sign. You may not have it in the same house, but you will have it in the same sign. Now, Saturn in places like the first house is going to be a person who maybe takes a little while to figure out who they are, takes a while to develop a sense of self-worth, but once they get there, they have a very solid foundation. And Saturn is about building foundations too. And they're very wise and studied in developing their self-identity and finding ways to be comfortable and bring out who they are and show that. So wherever Saturn's at, it is a developer. It is a knowledge builder, and overall I feel like the energy of Saturn is a lot about knowledge, is It's a lot about discipline too, yes. But along with that discipline, there's a a real high energy of knowledge and wisdom that's intertwined with that. And so that whenever we have anything that happens with Saturn throughout our world, our universe, our cosmic charts, that is the breath, if you will, of the energy that we're flowing through. The breath of wisdom, the breath of discipline, you know, the breath of patience, the breath of compassion, the breath of focus, even the breath of gratitude, the breath of pace. This is what Saturn represents. And I think I'm going to stop right there for Saturn. Next week, I'm going to do Mars. Next week, we're going to do Mars. If you found this video helpful or learned anything, please like and subscribe. You can also head over to thedenqueen.com and look into all of my offerings and everything I have on the table right now. I also have a pretty cool blog over there, and I'm going to be adding some stuff to the blog today. I hope that you all enjoyed this video. We are going to be continuing on with the Learning Your Energetic Being video series, studying these planet energetics. So be sure to, again, subscribe so that you do not miss a video. Until next time, y'all.